Kia ora, I'm Victoria Parsons, so I'm a trained psychologist and have recently become a manager of integrated services in the Wellington region.
Kia ora, my name's Amanda Susi and I work as a psychologist for the Ministry of Education, and currently I'm acting in a service manager role in Wellington.
We have often had schools reach out and through the traumatic incident line or through a crisis response. So they've come to us because they know that we work in the schools alongside them. So then our role has really been to support the team to make sure they're okay, that they know what to do, that they have a process in place, that they're following their policies, and then looking at what the next steps are, like contacting Oranga Tamariki and police and looking at what other agencies might be able to help.
Could be a disclosure that's been made about somebody in the school. It could be in terms of sexualised behaviour that's been exhibited by children and young people. And it might be an incident they just want to discuss, unpack and make sure they're doing the right thing. We have a process where we listen, establish the facts, have no judgment at that time of that situation. We keep careful notes and we plan our advice and guidance. We do encourage schools to think about when there is a crisis or a need or some sort of allegation about someone, that they have a go-to document, a sort of crisis management document that outlines those steps that they need to follow. Because as we know, in times of crises, it's often the time where you can't think clearly, even if you've got experience. We also encourage schools to liaise a lot with NZ STAR. So we also encourage schools to have a crisis management team, for instance, a trusted group of senior leaders that will meet together and assess. We encourage schools to always document when there's any crises or allegation. Document everything.
I think it's really hard for schools because they are there responding and they want to make sure they're doing everything right, and that adrenaline kicks in, and sometimes they want to be the ones that do that investigation to really show all the evidence, and we say no, actually your role is to support the child, to listen, to believe and have a plan for how you keep them safe.
So there may be the Board of Trustees chair to inform. There may be connecting up with NZ STAR to support them if there's other things that need to be done.
In some schools that might be a child has disclosed a teacher has been abusive to them, or another student. And so then often we're coming in after that disclosure's been made and really working with the schooling team to work out how they manage that process appropriately.
So in the case of sexualised behaviours exhibited by young people, children, the school may need to look at what their next steps are. So that could be where we would talk to them about having training school-wide for the teachers, so that could be through an organisation such as Child Matters, or it may be that the school needs to regularly implement the program, for instance, that the police provide in schools, where they come and do modules around keeping ourselves safe. There are processes that need to be followed around who you let know, forming parents, how they're going to do that, how they're going to record these incidents and keep note of it, and how they behave culturally, sensitively, and that no leading language and presumptions are made. Talk in ways that are appropriate for young people. We talk about things being alleged, not necessarily happened. Confidentiality is a huge issue in this area. So we talk about those things with the principal and their management team. Some things are very sensitive and will need to be kept to a smaller group. How often they talk about it and where they talk about this will need to be thought through carefully. Also questions and queries from the community, from parents, other staff members. How's that going to be managed? So each situation of course is unique and has a unique response, but also bringing it back to always child safety.
So as part of my training as a psychologist, we look into the power dynamics around family violence and sexual violence.
Within our own teams at the Ministry of Education, all of our practitioners can complete modules that are provided free, and there's one specifically for the early childhood sector and one for schools and one that outlines the Ministry of Education's child protection policy. Every community is different in how they operate, and every school is different in how they operate, but probably things that bind them together are those issues of equity and inclusion.
And so teachers want to do the best they can for the students and may want to do their own investigation and their own follow-up, but actually it's really important that their role is to create the safe environment, be there to listen to a child, and then know how to get the other agencies involved. And I think in Te Maho it's important for us to be that connect between schools and other appropriate community agencies.
So there's a wide range of resources that we will recommend to schools, and also that we become familiar with ourselves. And schools are really good at knowing what agencies and their community support as well.
All psychologists have to meet some core competencies, of which one is cultural responsiveness, which is an understanding of their own cultural biases and their own cultural identity and where that fits within New Zealand.
In the Ministry of Education, we have a role kaitaka waenga, and that person would take a lead in kura kaupapa Māori settings, and if that person wasn't available, there are other colleagues in the ministry who would come with that practitioner if required. Schools themselves all want to be safe, inclusive, with flourishing children, and so their policies and plans often will support this. Obviously, if anyone in New Zealand and Aotearoa is concerned about a child being abused or has a disclosure, they also can make a notification to Oranga Tamariki, and so that's something that's the responsibility not only of us as an organisation but for the practitioners themselves.